Hello everyone, we're going to be covering Bughouse World Championship in the open section. The match is going to be Chewy and Marvel versus Zarkov and dushezzz. And they should be starting any time here. Let me see if we can get any co-commentators. So Chewy's team has been warming up. They've been waiting for Zarkov, I believe. Earlier this morning, the Zarkov was ready, but Chewy's partner was not yet awake. So now they're all four ready to go. So should start any time here. Let me make sure I'm watching the right people. Oh, it looks like Zarkov team may be warming up. Okay, yeah. So this is not the four people that's playing, but we have the Zarkov team right here. Who's warming up this game. Nice mate by the Zarkov team. So I should be following Chewy. I will also check the listing of games to make sure we're not missing anything. Here we go. This is in the group stage of the open section. I'm not sure if either of these teams are the number one seed. I think the nochewycandy and Marvel team is higher ranked. I'm not sure if they're the number one seed or number one seed. Oh, we have Cabbage in the chat here. How are you doing, Cabbage?
Hello, I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing fine. So do you have that information for us? Is Chewy's team, are they the number one seed or number two seed in their group?
Oh, yes, I happen to have that information. They're actually the number 2 seed, and they're facing off against the number 4 seed in their group.
And who's the number one seed in their group?
The number 1 seed in their group is you might recognize their names, Katask and Jeffrey X.
Oh, that's a tough group right there. So this match really matters because two teams are moving forward, and we would expect the Katask and Jeffrey team to progress pretty easily, but the number 2 team is going to be a real battle.
Yeah, and currently it looks like they're giving them a run for their money because
I mean this was mate for
wow, they just got mated.
So early lead from Zarkov and dushezzz. Zarkov is supposedly from Mexico, and dushezzz from Estonia.
So this seems like a fairly good time zone for all four players. I think it's around night in Europe and around afternoon in the US.
Yep.
Also, that last one just shows how strong these group stages are, because in last year, if you had a 4th seed face against a 2nd seed, the expected score in like 90% of matches was 8-0, or just a complete sweep of the games. But here, the lower seeds are actually fighting back.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it looks like this game's a lot more in the favor of Chewy and Marvel. Both sides have pretty safe kings. One of them's on e8 and one of them's on g1 behind 3 pawns.
Yeah, and they are both on the attack as well.
Yeah, and they're not short on material. I think the material is roughly even, which is really good because usually if you're on the attack, that means you've invested some amount of pieces or pawns into trying to get the king open. But if you can do it without those things, then it's really good.
Absolutely. Zarkov doing pretty good job defending and counterattacking.
Yeah. And bishop on g6 is a strong move. It defends both h7 and f7.
Dushezzz in some trouble though. I mean, we're gonna take this rook. A3 is covered by the bishop.
So, yeah, and he got the additional bishop.
So that is mate.
All right, and now both teams are on the board. We see some interesting openings, like, for example, allowing the capture of both knights on f6 and c3 on Marvel's side.
Indeed. A lot of Bughouse players like sacking the knight to give themselves a pawn structure with a pawn on f3, which they think leaves them in a very well-defended position.
Yeah, I can really see this on Marvel's board because he has pawns on f6 and c6, and that really makes his king on e8 shielded. That really shields his king from a lot of possible attacks.
So a rook mates Chewy, but they are up time, so a rook is never going to come. Probably also looking at something like knight at b2, in which case a bishop for a3 would be helpful. Okay, he's just going to guard the rook. That makes sense.
Oh, this is not a good. Yeah.
Knight check.
Oh, and now there's an intermediate move, pawn on e7, which is really strong.
Definitely going to be a mate here, and just bishop check. Oh, that wasn't the bishop check I thought, but it's a very good bishop check.
Yeah, and it looks like the king is pretty out in the open here. Okay, and
exactly, with an infinite supply of pieces and the king out in the open, checkmate was just inevitably going to happen.
Yep. All right, and now to counterattack those being attacked all game, dushezzz, I assume that's how you pronounce it, decides to sack on f7 early. At least that gets him some play. Sharkov is facing some pressure on the dark squares with the two bishops lined up.
Indeed. Chewy loves the sack, and he's already got in there. In contrast,
Chewy's defending well.
Yeah, Zarkov is defending well, but Chewy's king is also very safe. So this is going to be all about piece flow.
Bishop takes f6. I do not like that. That leaves the knight hanging on g4.
Right. So Chewy is now up a piece after all that attacking.
Yep. Oh, he gives Charkov a window to sack on f2, though, if that does anything.
Indeed.
We will see.
Maybe like knight f6 to attack the queen, give the king more escape square. Zarkov, I guess, probably wants a knight so he could pawn check on one side, knight on the other. They're down way too much time though. 30 seconds.
Oh, they are both sitting. Or did they disconnect? Oh.
Or maybe he's trying to figure out if the rook mates and his partner can sack a queen, but no, it does not.
In the chat, it looks like the ping of dushezzz is. Oh, do you want to guess what his ping is?
Based on him not moving, I'm gonna guess 5,000.
Oh, you're actually really close. His ping when I checked was 4265.
Okay.
Which is in Bughouse, in a situation where time actually matters, it's pretty much a loss.
That's equivalent to like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not looking back in the free internet chess server, there's a guy named Trumpet X, and he was known for having a very bad connection. I'm sure his connection is much better at this point, but when people would bother him about his connection, he would just try to defend it. So one of his famous quotes was, "And 5,000 is a bad ping? I don't think so," or something like that.
Well, it's pretty applicable here.
Right.
Wow, I thought Trumpet X was from a place where they would have good ping ordinarily, but okay, I guess not.
Well, yes, but this was much earlier in the birth of the internet, I guess.
I see. That makes sense. Okay, and we have a new game. It looks like Marvel allows this fork, but the king's actually pretty safe on a1, f1 if the knight goes over to a1, where it's
Right,
far away from the king.
and a rook for a knight is a fairly even trade. The bishop could always take back the knight, but
This bishop on
instead
f6.
choosing to attack.
Yeah, and now that he has this queen in hand, it becomes a lot easier to try to mate. For example, rook h5 is mate. Oh, yeah, and it happened.
And that example has come to fruition. How are you doing, GM BMW? Thank you for watching.
Yes, welcome to the stream, GM BMW. It was nice to have some Grandmaster spectators of Bughouse. Alright, so new game, new type of position. It looks like it's a lot more quiet compared to the previous positions. There's no early sacrifices on either board.
It is. Our current score is 4-1, favoring Chewy and Marvel. So maybe they figure they don't need to take as many risks.
Yeah,
to get the result.
This seems to favor. I think this seems to favor.
This is an interesting move. If we see a pawn or bishop on f7, we could see a discovered attack.
Oh yeah, true. Even a knight on f7 sometime in some cases could be good.
Right, that's a good idea. He has a knight in hand already.
Although he would need a second knight to follow it up, so it could be better to make sure that he gets that second knight first before committing.
They're actually down time, which is a new development. We've never seen Chewy down time in the history of the Earth.
I would have never thought that was possible. And he goes for knight f7, so knight's probably going to take the rook on h8.
Yeah, take the rook, sack the queen. Oh wow. Okay. A little bit surprising. Well, he made it into a queen trade. But honestly, Chewy's king is a little bit exposed. So that's not the way I would have gone after the king.
Yeah,
I would have gone after G2 just because.
Yeah, same. I agree. Or put a knight on f4.
Right.
Because the king on d2, even though it's on d2, it's off of the first rank. It lost its castling rights. It's not easy to attack.
Yeah, all the squares are defended around d2.
Yeah. I always want to make sure that you have a follow-up.
Yeah, we don't want to do like monkey see, monkey check. Oh, check, it must be good.
Yep. Well, this knight on f3 can go to d4.
Oh, going to c3 is interesting. As long as he doesn't have material, which he doesn't right now, that seems like a good square to go to.
Yeah, except when he gets the knight on b5 or knight on e2, then it'll be more annoying. But for now,
yeah, but they are actually up time now. So they've closed the gap.
4 seconds. What's his ping now?
So the question is, will Chewy defend or will he press with something like e6?
That's a good question. e6 can be very scary for the king with a potential d7 follow-up. Okay, so Tsarkov commits, but now the knight on f3, because the pawn is on d4, and the knight on f3 cannot actually enter the game anymore. Except he could have taken the rook on e1, but anyways. They'll probably be flagged. It's really hard to play.
Well, knight d2 looks pretty good though.
Yeah, it did. With an extra knight, that would have been mate.
Actually, I guess the knight guarded the bishop.
Oh, the bishop guarded the knight. Yeah. So if he had an extra knight there, he actually could have gotten checkmate and won the game. And it was hard to get on the other board.
Yep. So our score is now 5-1, favoring Marvel and Chewy. In the open section, it is 1st to 8. Is that correct? With a win by 2 condition.
First to 9 with a win.
Oh, 1st to 9. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. In the challenger section, it is 1st to 8. And we've seen a lot more challengers games being scheduled and played than open section. This is actually, I think, the first open section match.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't covered much of the challenger section in the group stage, so apologies for that. I would say I'll try to cover more in the future, but I'm also going to be busy next weekend. So I'll try to cover some in the next few days before the weekend.
That's fine. Yeah, we're grateful that you're even willing to cover one match. We're really grateful that you're.
I should have a lot more availability during the elimination phase, and hopefully week 3 of the group phase as well. Okay. Yeah. So time is fairly close. Zarkov would like some more pieces to attack. and looks like Marvel's trying to deprive him of pieces.
For sure. And the knight on f5 does a good job of covering the dark squares and making it hard to continue. Move like bishop at h8, or bishop at g7, interesting.
So what happened there is Marvel eventually moved, but for sure he was communicating with his partner to ask if moving was okay. And they looked at the position and figured out that they were pretty sure Chewy could live with a few trades.
Yeah, that's good communication. I was really worried about rook takes g6, but it looks like they're not going for it. So he's really fixated on this h6 square by putting his knight on g4. But after the queen sacrifices itself for the knight, with keeping in mind that the queen does not really affect Marvel's board as much, then
Chewy now seems very safe because g7 is covered.
Yeah, the bishop on h6 is a very important defender in these sorts of positions. It allows the king to just sit on h8. And now he doesn't even have to take the knight on g7. Oh,
and this queen move was especially good because there wasn't any extra blocker. The rook or bishop would have had to come back. The pawn could not act as a blocker.
Oh, very true. The score is now 6-1 in favor of the higher rated team. Oh, and we see another early sack on f7, and he wins the queen. This is actually really good for Tsarkov. If he puts a pawn on f7, he can even win the rook. Or at the very least, prevent the rook from attacking the queen with tempo. That bishop check.
Zarkov's position looks great, but on the other hand, Marvel is on the attack.
Yeah, and now Tsarkov has a cool idea. He can take the knight with the bishop and then drop a knight on g8 as a fork for some cases. So he first puts the rook on c7 to cut off the king. Now I think, he missed it. Yeah. Oh, knight at c6. That's me. That's very clever.
Okay, that's different idea. We were focused on one idea, but his position, when you have a position so good, there are often several different attacking ideas.
Yep. And as a defender, you have to make sure to get all of them, or bad things can happen. Okay, the score is now 6-2. They are putting up a good fight, I would say, for this sort of rating matchup. Which, by the way, the group stages were created in such a way that the first week would have all the matches between the first and third seeds of the groups and the second and fourth seeds. And starting from week 2, which is the next week, we'll start to see more competitive matches because they'll be between the first and second seeds and the third and fourth seeds. And then week 3, we'll have the really, really close deciding matches to see who makes it out of the group between the second and the third seed in each group.
Absolutely.
So the matches only get more important as the group stage goes on.
So Dutch is still on the attack. I guess knight takes c6. Oh, okay. He's in the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's no longer attacking. Marvel is actually up time. Maybe they're waiting for the rook.
He's trying to force
g8.
It doesn't look like it's coming though. So now Tsarkov is almost safe.
Might even sack the queen here for the bishop, and then bishop takes. Oh, okay.
He's not trying to cover the rook though, and the knight's actually hanging. Queen takes e5 wins the. Oh, what is that move?
That's a very weird move.
Interesting. It's an interesting idea for sure, but I don't think it does anything. You can recycle a lot of pieces on e5.
They gotta watch out for draws though.
Oh,
finally sacked that.
Mm-hmm. He's really going in on the attack here.
I mean, I think he doesn't have anything to replace it. I was saying, okay, now he has a pawn, but I think he's fine because f5 and h5 are covered.
Yeah. Oh, but f6 is not. Oh, he didn't take it though. Oh, and he hangs his queen.
Nice knight move.
Oh, to
Oh,
force the knight.
wow.
Wow.
Okay. Interesting.
Smart
Marvel.
play.
Yeah. Yeah. What often happens for me is I get laser focused on one board, which I think is the interesting board, and then mate suddenly happens on the other one.
Some of the players do that too. It's really. I also missed that. The knight was mating on the other board. Because both boards are super interesting when there's a lot of pieces on the board and a lot of fireworks going on.
For sure. So it sounds like Marvel would like a knight. Marvel has a comment for his partner. He says, "Your white is pretty good. What's up with your black?" So that's.
Oh, thanks for the raid.
Thanks for the raid from Narcissist. Really appreciate it. Let's give him a shout out. 2 different ways. So for Narcissist, we are watching the Bughouse World Championship in the group stage. The current score is 7-2. This is in the open section, and it is the number 2 seed versus the number 4 seed. Chewy is saying in the chat that he sucks at feeding.
We have a bit of banter between the partners.
Yeah.
Healthy conversation, of course. And now with the time reduced, actually, this favors the faster team, which in this case is Chewy and Marvel. So sitting it down, I do not think was the best decision for Sarkov and dushezzz, but we'll see as the game goes on whether time has a impact on the overall game.
This is very difficult to defend, as the queen is going to come in somewhere.
After
he can't even take.
Yep, he's already mated. Okay, and we are at match point. The score is 8-2 between Marvel and Chewy versus Sarkov and dushezzz. So this is potentially the first of 7 match points, but or no, 6 match points. Yes. We'll see if they're able to hold on. Looks like Chewy is trying to attack, and it's working out pretty well. If he gets another knight on g3, he could get a fork with knight at g3, which is instantly covered. But also Marvel's attacking, so...
Yeah, chess.com does weird things, and Marvel has switched to my left board. So
I see.
Confused for a second there.
Oh,
knight
yeah,
mates. Okay, not gonna wait for it.
Knight still mates, but he covered it. Yeah. Rook does not mate. Does it? No.
I don't think Rook quite mates, but Rook is of course very good for Chewy. The knight still does mate.
They're actually up on time though, so Chewy will have to move here.
He will, and Zarkov has a little bit of an attack.
Yeah, I think he should focus more on defense though.
Right. Well, now a knight still mates, just in a different way.
Yeah, I think
he's using the rook.
Okay. So he should take with the bishop here to minimize how open his king is.
I'm kind of looking at weird things like queen takes bishop to deflect the queen, but I guess that doesn't do anything at this point. He had another bishop.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was looking at that too. That did look interesting. Okay, now he blocks with a bishop on f8. I mean, dushezzz should just keep moving here because Chewy doesn't really have anything without a knight, or a rook, and it's really hard to get one. So I don't know what.
Yeah, I assume Chewy's going to pawn check, but okay, now he does have the bishop.
Yeah, but he can't do anything with the bishop.
Yeah. Oh, he's given himself some luft for his king.
Yep, and now it's pretty much over unless they blunder massively, which is not out of the question yet.
It's not. Okay, trying to make the rook mate. He just hangs a queen to get the rook out of there. Wow, that's time pressure.
Yeah, He didn't hang a queen though. He only hung a pawn, so it's sort of a
Oh,
deflection.
I'm sorry. That was a pawn.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, but you're fine. They're
bad.
moving so slowly though. You would think in a time scramble they'd move a bit faster.
Yep.
Queen g5. Ah! He missed a mate and won with moving the queen back to g5. Yep, that's the game.
Yeah, hard to find those mates in one in time pressure. And I assume he thought that his queen would be taken by like the knight or something.
Yeah, that's true. That would contribute. That was probably
Chewy is apologizing to his partner for their one loss. Or no, I guess they had 2 losses.
Yeah, they did have 2 losses.
Okay, so our final score is 9-2. I will put that in the chat here. 9-2 favoring Chewy and Marvel.